Hello friends and potential friends. Well, the other day I went out in the pasture and recorded a video and I forgot to add an intro to it. So I'm in the studio now, the mobile studio. Figured I better make an intro. Basically, I went out there to see what the water had been doing, see how much progress I'd been making. And I also wanted to make sure I got all the way back to the back of the pasture to take another look at a tree that caught my interest last year. Now, at the time, the thing was covered in fruit, and I thought it was a cherry tree. Now that I've seen more video on it and gotten a closer look at some of the stuff, I've decided it could very well be another plum tree. If it is, it's different from the one that we've got up by the house. And I would love to get some cuttings off of it if it is a plum tree or a cherry tree. Problem is, number one, it's on somebody else's property. And number two, it's on a very steep slope that runs down to the creek that runs across behind Mom's property. This creek, I don't know how deep it is. I've run the drone out there a number of times trying to see it, and I can't even see the water. I can hear it, and you might be able to hear it in this video, but I sure can't see it. And well, I don't bounce as well as I did 50 years ago, so I'm not going to try to climb down there without a lot of special equipment. And if it's a plum tree, I'm not sure it's worth the climb. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a nice walk through the pasture. A little bit steep at times, wore me out pretty much. But yeah, I think it was well worth it. So I hope you enjoy. Pumpkins in the pasture. There's going to be a bunch of them out here. May already be some growing. Remember this brown spot? Not all that brown anymore. And then there's this brown spot. The water's just starting to flow today too. So there will probably be a lot more of it coming out here over the next few days. And most of this spot may well turn green. Got it running down over here. Last week I had it running down here. So there's a good chance I'll get it out here again this week. A lot more green than there used to be. Can't wait to get an aerial view of it. And even back here in the lower part of the pasture, a lot of what was brown is now green. All the way back under the trees in some spots. And as I start down here into the lower part of the pasture, there's the mulberry trees. Water runs all down through there. In fact, there's probably some water running right over here. Yep, there's a little bit. Running down to that patch of flowers. A little bit of a brown spot over here. Back up under some of the trees back there are still brown. And there's an area of cockleburs that have died out. Have I mentioned that I don't like cockleburs? Bane of my existence. Those things are dangerous. There's a few that are starting to grow. But these things, when they dry out, you can use them as a club, and they will draw blood. So you got to be careful around them things. And I am not going to walk through the middle of them. I may try to go around them. But I see some green over here. And a bit more brown. You see there's a bit more brown over on the other side of the trees. I could probably try to divert some more of the water that runs behind my neighbor's property and get it to come down into that section. I'm not sure if I'm going to go to that effort or not. There is still a lot growing out here. You can get an idea of how hilly this is. Though, obviously there's some water getting into here. We got quite a bit of grass growing under the trees here. I'm not sure if those are Russian olives or not, but I don't see the spikes. But those sure do look like olives. And right back here, note to self, if I need a few cinder blocks, there's some laying back here. And this is the back end of Mom's pasture. And you may be able to hear it. The creek is running right back through there somewhere. There's those, I swear they still look like gas tanks to me. Seen them from the air a lot, haven't seen them from this close recently. Mom's pasture runs straight through those bushes there. on past the trees. In fact, I think I'm going to walk around there. There, now I'm on the other side of the bushes. For reference, there's those gas tanks again. And there's the drop off that goes down to the creek. And right there is the tree that I was thinking was a cherry tree. I don't see any fruit at all on it this year. Well, maybe a little bit. Let me zoom in. I do see some red, but it looks like there's a lot of red in the leaves. So I'm not convinced that that's a cherry tree anymore. Could still be, but trying to get down there to it would be a chore. And I'm not going to attempt that. This is a pretty steep drop off. I do hear the creek flowing down there. I'll shut my mouth and you can try to listen to it. Hope you could hear that. And I just spotted something else I want to try to take a look at. So here we go, zooming in again. I don't have the tripod, but do those look like cherries? They sure do to me. But once again, I'm not going to try to climb down there. That is a pretty steep drop. Willows growing down there in the water. That must be a pretty good sized creek down there. And though I can hear the water, even with the drone I haven't been able to see it. But this is the back end of Mom's property. And there's that trash pile I sometimes zero in on to decide when I get to the back end of her property. Oop, looks like someone's living here. Probably a rock chuck. Okay, well, now I guess I gotta make the climb back up to the front of the pasture. And just for grins, that's the other side of the trash pile. Those rocks you see over there, I'm pretty sure are the northern edge of Mom's property. Though I don't see the fence. It's probably in there somewhere. And oh, we have hawks around here too. Well, here's the northern side. And you can see where the water runs, because this grass is pretty thick down here. But that's the northern side of the property. And I'll probably be walking in grass or in water up here pretty soon. Yep, there is some in there. This grass is looking pretty good. I'm not sure why the cattle haven't been coming over here. Somewhere up here, I believe there is an opening into the next pasture. But it's up to the owner of the cattle whether he wants to put them back here. Yep, there's the opening. So they do still have access. He's just been keeping them over in another pasture over on the other side of the north neighbor's property. This is where they come through. There's still quite a bit of grass out there on Gary's place too. Okay, I'm just rambling, and this is getting a little bit treacherous because this ground is pretty rough. I'm starting to get into a little bit of water, and it's an uphill climb. So I think I'm going to go sit down under the mulberry trees for a bit, get my breath back before I head back the rest of the way up to the house. So once again, I'll see you next time.